What if I told you that one of the most famous prison murders in American history never actually happened? What if Christopher Scarver, the man who allegedly killed Jeffrey Dahmer with a metal bar in a Wisconsin prison, was nothing more than a pawn in one of the biggest cover-ups in criminal justice history? This isn't just another true crime story. This is about a systematic conspiracy that's been hidden from the public for 30 years. By the end of this 4-part series, you'll never look at the Dahmer case the same way again. I'm RJ Sykes, and this is the Christopher Scarver case, fully exposed. Let's start with what we've all been told. November 28, 1994, Columbia Correctional Institution in Portage, Wisconsin. Jeffrey Dahmer, one of America's most notorious serial killers, is on a work detail in the prison gymnasium. With him are 2 other inmates, Christopher Scarver and Jesse Anderson. According to official reports, the 3 men were left unsupervised. Scarver, already serving life for murder, grabbed a metal bar from the weight room. He bludgeoned both Dahmer and Anderson to death. When guards found him, Scarver allegedly said, "God told me to do it. Jesse Anderson and Jeffrey Dahmer are dead." Case closed, right? The monster got what he deserved. Prison justice served. That's what they wanted us to believe. But here's the problem. Christopher Scarver has been pleading from behind bars for nearly 3 decades that this entire story is a lie. And the evidence? It backs him up. Before we dive into the conspiracy, you need to understand who Christopher Scarver really is. Born in 1969, Scarver struggled with mental health issues from a young age. By 1990, he was convicted of murdering Steve Lohman, a supervisor at a Wisconsin Conservation Corps training office, during an armed robbery. Scarver was sentenced to life in prison and ended up at Columbia Correctional Institution, the same facility where Dahmer was allegedly housed. Here's what's interesting. Scarver's psychological profile painted him as someone with severe mental health issues. He heard voices, he experienced religious delusions. He needed treatment, not isolation. But instead of getting help, Scarver became the perfect scapegoat, a violent criminal whose word nobody would ever believe. And that's exactly what made him valuable. Now, let's talk about Jeffrey Dahmer's time in prison, or should I say his alleged time in prison? Because here's where things get weird. Every piece of footage we have of Dahmer in prison shows him walking freely through administrative hallways. Never in a cell. Never in an actual maximum security environment. In 1994, he sat down for an interview with Stone Phillips for MSNBC. But look at this. He's getting professional hair and makeup. In prison. Let that sink in. Then there's the 1993 Inside Edition interview, where Dahmer, this supposedly remorseful killer, quotes lines from a 1992 comedy horror film about himself, passing them off as his own memories.
I'm not even going to pretend to know to be a professional at this, so, I'm just going to talk.
The compulsive obsession with doing what I was doing overpowered any feelings of revulsion.
A compulsive obsession with doing what I was doing overpowered any feelings of revulsion.
I was dead set on going with this compulsion. It was the only thing that ever gave me any satisfaction.
I was dead set on going with this compulsion. It was the only thing that gave me any satisfaction.
At the time, it was so addictive.
Stop moving, man! Stop moving!
An incredible surge of energy.
Stop it! Stop moving! Stop it!
I wouldn't have to worry about their needs.
It was almost addictive, a surge of energy. I wouldn't have to worry about any of their needs or anything.
It's a process. Doesn't happen overnight.
It doesn't happen overnight.
I killed them to possess them permanently.
I don't know how to put it, possess them permanently.
Does this look like one of America's most dangerous inmates to you? Or does it look like a performance? And here's the kicker. In my earlier investigation, I uncovered that Dahmer was represented by Metropolitan Talent Management Agency, a talent agency for actors. This isn't speculation. This is documented fact. So the question becomes, was Jeffrey Dahmer ever actually behind bars? Or was this entire narrative carefully constructed for public consumption? Because if Dahmer was never really in prison, then Christopher Scarver couldn't have killed him there. This is where it gets explosive. I've obtained internal court documents from case number 94 CF 191, the Christopher Scarver prison murder case, that have never been made public until now. These documents reveal something shocking. Christopher Scarver entered into a plea agreement in 1995. He agreed to plead no contest to the alleged murders of Jeffrey Dahmer and Jesse Anderson. In exchange, he was promised two things: transfer to a federal medical facility, the Federal Medical Center in Springfield, Missouri, access to mental health treatment. This letter, dated May 1995, confirms the Wisconsin Department of Corrections was arranging Scarver's transfer to the federal facility. But here's the problem. That transfer never happened. The Wisconsin Department of Corrections violated the plea agreement. They kept Scarver in the state system. They sent him to Supermax instead, a place designed for the worst of the worst, where inmates are kept in near total isolation. No treatment, no federal transfer, no justice. And when Scarver tried to fight back, when he wrote to Judge Richard L. Ream about the violation, the judge claimed he didn't even remember the plea agreement. Judicial amnesia. How convenient. But it gets worse. In letters written from prison, Christopher Scarver makes allegations that should shake the entire criminal justice system to its core. Listen to his words. The judge did not properly assess the situation or find why Mr. Scarver was making an asinine plea agreement. He didn't try to find out if he actually committed this crime. Read that again. Scarver is saying the judge never established whether he actually committed the murders. He goes on. Scarver did not admit to facts constituting first-degree homicide. This caused a manifest injustice. This is called a plea colloquy violation, a fundamental breach of due process protected by the Fifth and Sixth Amendments. The court was required to ensure Scarver understood what he was pleading to and that there was a factual basis for the plea. According to Scarver, that never happened. Why? Because the system needed someone to take the fall for Dahmer's death. And Christopher Scarver, mentally ill, already convicted, completely voiceless, was the perfect patsy. Let me ask you something. If you wanted to stage the death of someone who was never actually in prison to begin with, wouldn't you need a fall guy? Wouldn't you need someone whose word nobody would believe? Someone who was already serving life, who had mental health issues, who could be easily isolated and silenced? Christopher Scarver fit that profile perfectly. The violated plea agreement, the missing evidence, the judicial amnesia, the deliberate isolation in Supermax. This wasn't just a miscarriage of justice. This was a conspiracy. And here's something that should terrify you. Jesse Anderson, Scarver's other alleged victim, doesn't appear in the Social Security Death Index. Neither do 15 of Dahmer's supposed victims. They're just gone, erased from official records. In part 2 of this investigation, I'm going to show you evidence that suggests the November 28, 1994 murders at Columbia Correctional Institution were nothing more than a staged event. We're going to examine the autopsy reports, or rather, the lack of autopsy reports. We're going to look at witness statements that don't add up, and we're going to reveal why the system was so desperate to make sure nobody ever questioned this story. The Christopher Scarver case isn't just about one man's wrongful conviction. It's about exposing the cover-up of the decade. If this investigation shocked you, you need to do 3 things right now. First, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. Part 2 drops in soon, and you don't want to miss what comes next. Second, share this video everywhere. The mainstream media has ignored this story for 30 years. It's up to us to expose the truth. Third, drop a comment below. What do you think happened to Jeffrey Dahmer? Was Christopher Scarver set up? I read every single comment. And if this case gripped you, check out my book, Jeffrey Dahmer, Uncovering the Case for Innocence. Available now on Amazon and all good online retailers. The truth has been buried for 3 decades. Together, we're going to dig it up. I'll see you in part 2.